Well, again, I'm Doug Smith, and welcome to the 10 July edition of Portsmouth This Week, the voice of Portsmouth Town Hall. Our special guest today is our new Recreation Director, Bob Campion. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you inviting me in for this conversation we're going to have today.
Yeah, well, I think it's important that we, I'm delighted, number one, that you're on board and that we got some kind of plan going forward here, because we have a lot of recreational things here in town. I wonder, though, if you could talk a little bit about your personal background.
Sure. I'm a local, Portsmouth High graduate. I went off to Norwich University in Vermont for college, pursued a teaching degree, came back to town, taught at Portsmouth High School for a number of years. While I was doing that, I went back to school to get my administration degree, and I'm currently a vice principal in Newport Schools.
Okay, sounds great. So you're really familiar with the area, having lived here most of your life.
Correct. You know, I was born in Newport Naval Hospital. My mother was raised in Middletown. My grandmother was born on a farm in Portsmouth in 1912.
Was your father in the Navy?
My father was Navy, yes.
Okay. Did you spend any time in the military, just out of curiosity?
The college I went to is a private military school, Army by nature. I was a 4-year Navy ROTC student while there. Part of the process there is you're in an ROTC program whether you're going to serve or not. Medically, I wasn't allowed to continue after an ROTC ended.
Well, you got a taste of it, I think.
Yeah, I had a pretty good taste.
Yeah, because we have a lot of military here, a lot of military living in Portsmouth, as a matter of fact. Can you give us some kind of an overview of your job description as you understand it as Recreation Director?
Sure. It's a fledgling program coming back in existence for the first time in a long time. Basically, try to start putting together the pieces to develop a recreation program for the town, and try to include all of our stakeholders, youth, adults, older adults. Try to develop some activities for them to be able to partake in.
Yeah, it seems to me we've sort of been floundering in that area until you came along, so I'm glad we have somebody at the top now to kind of pull the stuff together. Just out of curiosity, when you were here teaching at Portsmouth High School, did they have the recreation department then, do you know?
No, I don't believe so. I remember participating as a student, as a younger kid, with the Portsmouth Rec Department, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. I remember that.
Okay,
around
way back.
78,
yeah,
80-ish. But in my time at Portsmouth, 96 to 2008,
yeah.
No formal recreation.
That was after we got rid of the position, I guess. Yeah. I assume you work directly for the town administrator?
Correct.
Is that
I'm
correct?
a part-time employee working for the town administrator, and we all work, for the town council as well.
Yeah, of course. What can you tell me about the terms of your contract, without getting into personal details or anything?
Part-time, annual, trying to average out an annual average of about 20 hours a week. A little more here and there.
So that's annual. So you'll probably be mostly a lot of it in the summertime.
Summertime. Pick up more. Trying to get. Right now, I go from my day job. I'll pull into the town hall. After that.
Yeah.
And work at that point.
Now, do you guys still work during the summer at the Newport school system?
We do. We're currently 12-month employees, so we work year-round, even if the kids aren't in school.
Okay. We have a lot of recreational facilities or areas, I guess. I just wonder, are you responsible directly for any of these areas, like Melville, Sandy Point, Beach, etc., things like that?
The Melville campground has been leased out to a company who's managing the campsite. I'm really not sure about the walking trails that are connected to it.
Yeah. I believe we have a town committee that keeps that. They do a good job.
They do. I know they do a lot of work with the Boy Scouts too to help keep that going. Yeah. As far as Sandy Point Beach goes, it has been put under the roof of the recreation department has its own beach manager, Tim Dunbar, who I believe was a guest on
Yes.
the show a few weeks back.
And we also had the Melville campground manager as well on the program.
And then other than that, right now it's, the Gardner 70 Sports Complex is going to be under the purview of this department.
Okay, and that would include Glen Farm, or no?
The Lower Glen Park, that I know from being here that we just call it Glen Park, is under their own committee, the Lower Glen Park Authority Committee.
Okay. I guess that's another question, because I just wondered, how do you relate to these committees, or how will you?
Well, last night I attended the Lower Glen Park Committee meeting as a introduction, first one I could get to, met the members of their board. We bounced some ideas off of each other because they're looking at, trying to create opportunities for that park to generate some income to help with the upkeep of the facilities.
Okay, so would you plan to kind of meet with most of these committees, or at least somebody from there to?
Correct. My next goal is to meet with the revenue generating committee and keep working from there and
Sure.
formulating some ideas. On
Just out of curiosity, did you go to the American Band concert at Glen Manor last night?
I did not. I was
You had something else
I
going
was
on.
coaching my youngest soccer, and then I had the commitment to meet with the Lower Glen Park, which was from 7
Sure.
o'clock on last night.
Well, I can tell you from my experience that those concerts are absolutely great, and very professional. It's a great free thing to go to. So you had a very successful event. We spoke about this the other day at the polo fields. You want to talk about that for a second?
Sure. We when I first came on board, I started bouncing around some ideas with Mr. Klim, who's no longer here, and Mr. Lathrop, who was the interim town administrator. And one of the things that I wanted to try to get out there first and foremost was one of these outdoor movie ventures. Local company has done 3, 4, 5 on the island. Seemed like a really neat experience that your family could come in. You could bring. We had people bringing in coolers with dinner, snacks, boxes of pizza. They sat down with their blankets and chairs, and so we played E.T. Under the Stars at the polo fields, and I think it was fairly successful. 125, 130 people
That's
for
probably
the
not
first
bad
time.
for the first venture, I would think. Now, how do they do this? How do they set this up? Do they set up a screen somewhere and project? Or?
Correct. We hired a company. They bring all the equipment in. It's, if you know, the kiddie jumpers that people hire for their backyard for birthdays. So this is basically a blow-up giant screen, and they blow it up. They tack it down, secure it. They bring the projection equipment. You have to hand over the DVD of the movie that you're going to play.
Yeah.
They project it, and when it's done, they pack. They deflate, pack it up, and they move along. It's pretty unique
Pretty
little
neat
operation.
Setup. Are you going to plan on doing some more of those?
I am. My goal is to try to make it almost like a movie, summer movie series, and try to have 3 before the kids went back to school.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of trying to line up number 2 as we speak.
Are you going to do Jaws at all? I think Jaws would be great.
That's a little bit of a conundrum.
Yeah.
When you call it like a family movie night, how the little ones. I got to be careful with that
I understand that.
that rating scale.
But it's
film.
Shark Week.
It is.
This week on TV.
It is
so-
Shark Week.
And a lot of this stuff is
But
pretty
I'm told
lame,
Shark Week this year they've tried to tone down the gore a little bit and go more scientific.
Yeah, well, I think it's pseudo-scientific maybe. But anyway, I just think that'd be a good one and maybe to conclude the season with or something. But so you got a couple more of those planned, and they're going to be all at probably the same place, same venue.
I hope so. It's a great little area where plenty of room to spread out, put your chairs and blankets down, and ample parking across from the polo fields.
Sure. Well, it sounds great. I'm hopeful if we get the word out and we can help on this program. Do you know the date of your next one?
Haven't confirmed the date yet.
Okay,
I'll probably be getting that finalized within the next week.
Well, when you get it, let me know, and we'll talk about it. little more publicity here won't hurt. And if you got 150 people the first time, maybe you can double that for the next time, I think. We have a lot of waterfront. In fact, we have a lot of waterfront. We have no real harbor per se, but we have a lot of waterfront in Portsmouth. Do you think that any water sports, such as kayaking or stuff, are feasible here through your department?
Definitely something that the rec department needs to look into for this summer. Probably, pardon the pun, miss the boat. Right now, the beach has put down storage so people can rent a spot to leave their kayak to help with that. I know there was a youth sailing program that existed there for a few years that moved out last year. I believe it moved down with Sail Newport in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I have had a couple of inquiries of people trying to find out how can we get that back. So I'm in the process
One of
of.
them was me.
One of them was you. So I'm in the process of trying to see how we can get something like that back here for people in the town.
We talked to one of the guys that did the sail training in the past, and it's a kind of it's a labor of love. I mean, these two guys just put everything, including their money, into that program. So it may take finding somebody like that that's really dedicated. But I'll tell you, if you look in the Newport Daily News, these pictures of the kids with the Opti class, those are these little small one-kid boats. They look like they're having so much fun, and it seems to me that's the kind of thing we might be able to do here, maybe in Bluebell Cove or somewhere, as we were talking about. But I think you're going to have to find somebody that's really dedicated to doing this. And then there's going to be some kind of investment required for boats. These two guys that ran this before actually did this all on their own hook. They took out loans to buy the boats for the program. So
getting the boats, maintaining the boats, storing the boats.
And also you come up with all kind of insurance and liability issues and training the cadre of trainers and all that kind of stuff. One of the things, it was on the river, so it's got a current most of the time. That's why I think someplace like off Island Park Beach or inside the Cove would be a good possible place. And I'd like to help with that. If you get something going, I'd be happy to kind of help out. Just out of curiosity, so you work for the town administrator directly. How do you interact with the other town departments? Like, for example, DPW. Dave Keogh and these guys do great work. I just wondered, like, if you go down to the polo fields and you have a movie, were there any problems with mosquitoes or anything like that?
Well, we didn't have any mosquito problems. We had a little bit of a steady breeze, which I think kept them knocked down out of the air.
Yeah.
I believe they have equipment with DPW where they can go down and put a treatment down beforehand. But as far as this first movie event went, I was really more concerned with the parking and the trash. And for the most part, I'd like to thank everybody who attended for, picking up after themselves. But I called Mr. Q and said I really need to get more access to some barrels down there, and they were down there waiting for me the morning of the
they're
event.
absolutely great. And Dave supports this town 190%, I'll tell you. But I know they did a great job of mosquito abatement down at Founders Brook Park during our 375th. They came down and treated this place, and then we had a couple of events there, like lunches and other stuff. It was great. I mean, it was mosquito free. So they're really an asset to this town. Now, can you just pick up the phone and talk to any of these guys?
I can, and with the new town administrator coming in, he's already implemented I believe he wanted to have a weekly, department head meeting right away. So we've already had our first one where everybody was in one room and gave everybody a chance to, what do you need? How's it going?
Sounds like some good Navy leadership traits here. I haven't met Mr. Rayner, but I hope to in the near future, and I think that's great. You really do need to keep in touch with everybody, I think, and find out what's going on.
Correct.
How about non-town organizations like churches, schools, things like that?
I haven't really dealt any churches yet. I have worked a little bit with the Penfield School. They were in need of sports outdoor field use due to inclement weather and wet conditions. So I worked with the athletic director from the Penfield School so that they could get a spot to play some of their spring season lacrosse games without really inundating, their having to change their schedule and waiting for drier weather on their fields.
Well, one of the things we've got hopefully coming up next, not this October, but the following October, is the Portsmouth UK Cathedral Choir is making a kind of a U.S. tour, and we're hoping to get them here for a day or so they can give a performance. And what we're looking for is perhaps a church venue that they could use. They sing, they do all kind of music, but I've heard these folks, and they are absolute professionals, and it'd be a great thing we're trying to get this Portsmouth on the Atlantic concept going, and this is a fallout of that. So I'll probably be talking to you more about some of this stuff too. One of the things that has been kind of confusing to me is that when it comes to fee structure, how much you charge people for using the different fields. And I assume there's a different structure for residents versus, say, commercial outfits that want to come in and have a tournament or something like that. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Glen Park, they've had a SOP in place with a fee structure. It's been in place for quite some time and really needs to be looked at about being updated and, lack of a better word, probably an increase of fees, especially for for-profit companies that want to come in and use the facilities. There's different levels depending on how big your event is, and there are, requirements whether you're for-profit or non-profit, if you're a resident requesting the use, and how much of your constituents are also residents in the event that you're holding.
So you'll be talking to the committee folks, I guess, that kind of like Glen Park, I think, is Grace Canunan, for example. She's the committee head.
Correct. She runs the Lower Glen Park Authority. As far as the fees for the Gardner 70 complex, that would be me working with Mr. Rayner as well as the town council.
Okay. I know one of the things is the town residents really get a break when it comes to, for example, using Glen Manor for a wedding or something, compared to, just bringing people in from the outside.
I will tell you, I haven't had any dealings with the Glen Manor, so I don't have. I would hope so, but I don't have the knowledge to answer that question thoroughly.
That's interesting. So, do you know if they kind of come under your cognizance at all?
They don't.
They don't. Okay, they're a separate organization. Okay. We're in the process, as you know, probably as a local resident, of establishing a dog park here in Portsmouth. I think it's currently they're looking at down by Melville Campground, and one of those areas down there.
Correct. I believe it's a piece of land, the little access road that runs just past the Melville campsite down to the walking trails.
Right.
They've working on securing that piece of land there to establish this part,
And
a closed-in part.
That's town land, I guess, right? I assume we own the whole.
There's not completely up to speed on it. I believe a portion of it is still under Navy control.
Okay.
And there may have to be a transfer of the land, or maybe there has been, but I'm pretty sure that, or maybe it's a piece below the Navy piece that they've secured with hopes of developing that part.
Well, I think it sounds like a great place to do it, number one.
Well, I feel the movie night, I feel a little remiss that I didn't reach out to the people trying to organize that dog park.
Sure.
What we had were some people brought some very well-behaved pets on their leash that sat and watched the movie with their owners, and that might have been a great opportunity for that committee to generate some donations towards their cause.
Yeah, certainly public knowledge of what's going on.
And so when we get this next movie night off the ground, I'm definitely going to reach out to them and let them know there's an opportunity, much like you see, to run the fireworks in town. There's a donation bin if anybody wants to help out, that maybe we can get something like that up and running for the dog park committee.
Okay, well, I'm sure Bunny Miller will be happy to talk to you about the dog park. It's a great idea, and we definitely need something. We had the animal control officer in here a couple of weeks ago, and the bottom line is there's no place in Portsmouth that you can walk your dog off the leash
Correct.
at all. We have all these great beaches that are deserted, and it's kind of tough. What is your vision, kind of, if you had, you're looking ahead. By the way, do you have any kind of term limit or anything, or is your position for X period of time?
This was established as an 18-month trial basis.
And then they reevaluate?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I think with what you're doing, I would hope you're a shoo-in to keep it going. But what would your vision be for our recreational programs here in Portsmouth in the future?
My personal vision right now would be to look at some of the non-traditional activities. You had already mentioned one, something like sailing or kayaking.
Yeah.
These stand-up paddle boards are really growing in popularity too. I'd be looking, one, non-sport related. We have a lot of great youth organizations that do great work for our kids, but art programs, cooking programs, maybe fitness programs, not necessarily directed at a single sport. Things like that, I think, are music programs, a different look of recreational activities, and giving some opportunities to our kids to experience this stuff, as well as hopefully getting something up and running for the adult population. A lot of places have co-ed volleyball leagues, basketball, stuff like that, where people, kind of like a drop-in, people can come in and play and be active. That would be my personal vision right off the start.
Well, that sounds great. I know one of the things that mothers, I think, particularly would like to see is some kind of a day activity program for kids in the summertime, because the mother may still be working.
Correct.
And something like that would I think really help them, and it'd be probably a good thing for Portsmouth as well. I like those ideas. So you let us know how we can help publicize some of this stuff. And I guess that brings up another point, and it's about publicity and things. What we found out during the 375th celebration back in 2013 was that there's no one way. You almost have to publish it in every possible thing you can. We even had a sign across East Main Road telling people that we're celebrating the 375th. And I think it took that sign for people to say, oh yeah, there is something going on in town this year. So you need to try to use everything you can. How can residents, if somebody had a suggestion, for example, I'm not talking about a daycare per se, I'm just talking about one of those programs you're mentioning, an art program or something for kids or music. How can residents contact you to? Probably
the easiest way would be to shoot me an email. I believe you folks have it publicized right here for them. Campion@portsmouthri.com. Probably the easiest way for me to get what what your ideas and what you're looking for, and then I can try to provide feedback to you as quick as I can.
Yeah, one of the things I'd recommend is that when people come in with these great ideas, you say, "Great, can you organize it for me?" That's kind of what you want to do.
How can you help?
Yeah, how can you? Yeah, exactly. If we had a really good budget, if something changed, Bill Gates came to town and blessed us with money or something. If money wasn't a problem, what kind of programs would you like to see here?
Well, if money wasn't a problem, first and foremost, I'd like to build a rec department facility where we could really schedule and house all our own programs. Whenever we felt like it.
Yeah.
But as far as that program went, I think what you just suggested, providing something, for kids in the summer, for kids after school. But again, our town is made up of more than just our kids, so we need to do some stuff for for the adults in town as well at all levels. But a well-rounded program with a lot of different activities and opportunities for people to, come in and be a community and do things other than just, live next door to each other.
Yeah, we did have we got a good sense of community going, I think, in 2013. And we had a parade, and there were more people at the parade that I even knew lived in Portsmouth. Just watching, it was great. It was absolutely great. We had some great volunteers, which proves, number one, that if you ask the right questions, people are more than willing to help. So I think we have a lot of lessons learned that we might be able to help you with. I'm not like the government. I'm here to help you, but we're here to help you. And I think if we can get some of that 375th sense of community back, it'd be a great thing. And I think your department is a great one to start with, because there are so many things that we can do. We have such a beautiful area here. We've only got a couple minutes left, but I wonder if you could. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people of Portsmouth?
I'm going to try to do my best to get the word out when we have these fledgling activities, and I hope they come out and
support
take advantage of them.
Yeah.
I did hear a number of people leaving that movie night. Thank you. This was great. This was fun. When's the next one? So I think the town is eager for these things, and I hope to be a key figure in helping them continue to get these activities and get access to them.
Just out of curiosity, what the Newport must have a big recreational department or something, right?
Newport Rec Department, they have a facility that the nickname is the Hut. So they run a lot of programs right out of their own facility right there. They manage all the town fields, Cardines.
They manage
Braga.
it themselves? They don't use their public works?
I believe it's the rec department, when they need to drop lines for baseball games and groom fields and stuff like that. I think it runs all through the rec department.
So they probably have several people in their rec department then?
They have a handful. I know, like a lot of things with town, I know it has maybe shrunk a little bit.
Yeah.
But they've been at it a long time. They do a pretty good job. I know Middletown had a rec department. Again, I think maybe it was trimmed back. I think their responsibilities have been decreased, but I think they do a lot of with their fields and like a summer program.
Yeah, we have such great locations here. I want to thank you for being on. We're almost done here, but I have a couple of those kind of public announcements I'd like to make about future events here. We got a couple of them coming up, and they're coming up in the future a couple weeks from now. On Wednesday, July 29th at 6:30 p.m. at the Portsmouth Library, we're having the people from Rhode Island PBS come down and talk about their Our Town TV project, in which everybody can take place. So I'd look for that and come down and join us. The other thing is, and this is actually starts on the 29th of July as well, as the Portsmouth Community Theater's production of Arsenic and Old Lace at the Aquidneck Island Christian Academy. So take a look for the ads in that and come down and join them. This is Doug Smith. See you next time.